On the 9th of April 2019, I wrote to Miss Mkuzangwe from UNISA after listening to an enlightening presentation made by herself. In her presentation, she highlighted her concern, which was the concern of the institution and that of every institution of higher learning about the high attrition rate, that is drop and stop-go rate. In my email to her, I wrote, I would like to discuss an intervention and possible solution that could ultimately reduce, if not solve, the problem. In this way, UNISA's retention and completion rate can be greatly improved. A positive follow-up to that email was the decision to formulate a short certificate course transitioning to tertiary, TTT, a bridging course from high school to higher education. We use the term university as an inclusive term incorporating all levels of higher education. We use university for flow and smooth transitioning through the course. Having interviewed individuals from most higher education institutions, I realized that this was not an institutional crisis, but it was a national crisis. Upon further research into the dropout failure rate of first-year university students in other countries in and out of Africa, it was clear that it was more than just a national or institutional crisis. It is a global crisis. Instead of pointing fingers and making recommendations to policymakers and politicians, I decided with a group of young people to do something about it because talk is cheap. We want to help you break through the ceiling of first year. We want you to graduate. In fact, we would love to be part of your graduation if you will only invite us. Now let's get into it. Number one, more than 40% of students are dropping out in the first year of study. Universities should stop viewing first-year students as a dropout risk. These young people are often determined, optimistic, enthusiastic, and open to learning, qualities that will ultimately benefit themselves and their academic institutions. We agree with Subethra Pather that first-year students are determined, optimistic, enthusiastic, and open to learning. We want to hone in on that inherent qualities and facilitate a smooth transition into university from high school or life out of school. Number two, the research done by Growth Institute suggests that there is a common theme underlying dropout rates around the world, and here's why. Students are not prepared for tertiary studies. They have to move from a relatively protected school environment into an environment where they are forced to stand on their own 2 feet. Students struggle to get used to the lecture and go approach at universities. Students are hesitant to ask questions, and some lecturers could give short, impatient answers to what could be termed stupid questions. Students do not know how to make sense of their study material. They often move from rote learning environments into an environment where they have to demonstrate that they can apply the learning material in a simulated real world. Tertiary exams are often based on integrated learning assessment. In other words, students have to glean facts from other subjects and disciplines in order to answer exam questions. Students are often uninformed about study disciplines. Students run out of steam. In other words, they are often not in the house when parents are prodding them to study. The first year is considered a big party for some. Senior students are not as social as juniors because seniors realize the consequences of failure. Number 3, in another article, Low Retention Rates at South African Universities, some key numbers regarding the dropout rate at South African universities were presented. South African universities can accommodate only 18% of South African matriculants. Of those 18, nearly half, 47%, will drop out. If distance learning is taken into account, that figure rises up to 68%. A study conducted by the Council on Higher Education and published in 2013 said students performed poorly at university because they aren't properly prepared by schools. Now we agree, and hence this bridging course. Dr. Andre van Zyl, Director of the University of Johannesburg, UJ, Academic Development Center and Head of the South African National Resource Center for First Year Experience and Students in Transition, says, the first year is the most critical for students to succeed at university, but many of them get lost or fall through the cracks of the system due to lack of support or other factors. This is what we want you to know right here and right now. You are not a statistic, and the statistics are not you. You desire to finish the race, and that is why you want to study further. You did not begin this race and journey to drop out, to fail, to give up, or to stop. You are determined, optimistic, enthusiastic, and open to learning. Sometimes it is required for others to believe in you, for you to realize that you are worth believing in. We believe in you and your academic success. Don't let the statistic make you go ballistic. The statistics are merely indications of what needs to be changed, and that change begins with you, in you, for you, through you, and only you. Welcome to TTT, transitioning to tertiary. The magic is not in TTT, but in you, and you. Enjoy the transition.